What if I told you that a habit as simple as reheating last night's dinner could be contributing to an environment of risk for pancreatic cancer? I am a doctor. Today I want to talk to you about a growing concern in the scientific community. In the next few minutes, I am going to reveal 5 foods that, when reheated incorrectly, can generate compounds that overload your pancreas without you realizing it. What you are about to discover could forever change the way you look at your microwave. The problem is the false sense of security. We all do it, right? We get home tired, and the easiest thing is to heat up the leftovers. It's practical. We save money and avoid wasting food. Seems harmless. But what if I told you that this simple gesture, repeated over and over again, could be waging a silent war against one of the most overlooked organs in your body? I'm referring to the pancreas. Think of your pancreas as the tireless and silent worker of your body. It's there, hidden behind the stomach, constantly producing the enzymes that digest food and the insulin that controls blood sugar. The problem is that the pancreas doesn't complain. It doesn't warn you. It doesn't give clear signs that it is under stress, until often the damage is already advanced. This is one of the reasons why pancreatic cancer is so difficult to detect early and has one of the lowest survival rates. That is why prevention is absolutely crucial. It begins in your own kitchen. This concern does not arise out of nowhere. It comes from an increasingly deeper understanding of food chemistry. We now know that heating, cooling, and reheating certain foods is not a neutral process. It is a chemical process that can transform harmless compounds into true saboteurs of our health. Substances are generated that promote inflammation, oxidative stress, and cellular damage. The 3 pillars upon which many chronic diseases are built, including cancer. With this video, I am not trying to scare you. My goal is to give you knowledge, because knowledge is power. The power to protect your health with small changes. We are going to demystify what happens on your plate when you press the reheat button. We will analyze one by one the 5 most common culprits that you probably have in your refrigerator right now. And most importantly, I will give you practical and safe solutions to handle leftovers without putting your health at risk. So please, pay attention. This is not a distant theory. It is a biochemical reality that occurs in your kitchen every day. Ready to take control? Let's begin. First, fried foods and reheated oils. The first culprit on our list is not a food itself. It is the medium in which it is cooked and often reheated oil. Think about those French fries, that breaded chicken, those cutlets from yesterday. What do you do the next day? You probably put them in the microwave. Or worse, give them another pass in the frying pan to make them crispy. That's where the problem begins. When you heat an oil to high temperatures, as in frying, it already starts to degrade. But it is when you reheat it that a truly toxic cascade is unleashed. Reheated oils, especially vegetable oils, such as sunflower or corn oil, undergo deep oxidation. This process generates a soup of dangerous compounds, including aldehydes and free radicals. These have been linked to a higher risk of chronic diseases. Imagine it like this. Free radicals are like tiny bullets out of control in your body, bouncing against your cells, damaging everything they touch, including your DNA. And how does this affect your pancreas? In 2 silent ways. First, systemic inflammation. When you consume these compounds, your body activates a defense response inflammation. If you regularly eat reheated fried foods, it's like having a fire alarm constantly going off. Your body enters a state of chronic inflammation, and the pancreas is extremely sensitive to this state. Chronically inflamed pancreas is a stressed pancreas, one that has to work harder in a hostile environment. Second, direct oxidative stress. The toxins from reheated oil enter your bloodstream. They can directly attack pancreatic cells, affecting their ability to function properly. Think of it as if you were throwing sand into a car engine. Little by little, the parts wear down. You might notice subtle signs: bloating, fatigue after eating, dull pain in the upper abdomen. It could be your pancreas calling for help. My advice as a doctor: how can you avoid this risk? The solution is not to fear oils, but to use them wisely. Do not reuse frying oil. This is the golden rule. Frying oil is for single use only. I know it may seem wasteful, but your health is worth far more. Choose alternative cooking methods. Try to fry less. Baking, roasting, steaming, sautéing. These are less aggressive methods. For reheating, the oven or the air fryer is better. If you have leftover fried food, the best way to reheat it is in a conventional oven or in an air fryer without adding more oil. This restores the crispy texture with drier heat. Eat fresh. The best fried food is freshly made. Every time you choose fresh food instead of reheated leftovers, you are giving your pancreas a break, too. Spinach and other leafy green vegetables. This second food may surprise you because it is the synonym of healthy eating, spinach. The problem, once again, is not the spinach itself, but what happens when you reheat it. Spinach, chard, or celery naturally contain compounds called nitrates. They are harmless. The problem begins when you cook these vegetables and let them cool slowly at room temperature. Store them for several days. Certain naturally present bacteria convert those harmless nitrates into nitrites, which are more problematic. The danger worsens in the second step, reheating. Heat can cause these nitrites to react and form substances called nitrosamines. This is a name you should remember. Nitrosamines are classified as probable carcinogens for humans. They have been linked to a higher risk of certain types of cancer, especially stomach and esophageal cancer, the link to the pancreas. Although the most studied relationship is with other cancers, the threat to the pancreas should not be ignored. Nitrosamines are genotoxic, meaning they have the ability to damage our DNA. When you consume them, your body has to fight to detoxify itself. And the pancreas is a key player in that process. Repeatedly exposing it to this load of harmful compounds creates chronic stress in an inflammatory environment. As we have already seen, chronic inflammation is a known risk factor. It can promote long-term cellular damage. Once may not make a difference, but repeated exposure week after week is like a drop falling endlessly on a stone. Over time, the stone wears down. My advice as a doctor: respect the chemistry of vegetables. Do not stop eating spinach. You only need to change how you handle leftovers. Cook only the necessary amount. The simplest strategy is to cook the amount of leafy greens you are going to consume in a single meal. Cool leftovers quickly. If you have some left, do not leave the pot on the stove. Transfer the food to a shallow container so it cools quickly. Put it in the refrigerator within less than an hour. Consume leftovers cold. This is the safest solution. Cooked spinach is delicious cold. You can add it to a salad or blend it into a green smoothie. This way you get its nutrients without the risk of reheating. Never reheat more than once. If you decide to reheat, do it only once. But my main recommendation is to avoid reheating these vegetables altogether. 3. Rice. Come to the third food that is omnipresent in kitchens around the world. Rice seems like the most harmless food, but reheated rice hides a risk that most people are unaware of. The problem is not the rice itself, but a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. Spores are like small survival capsules. They are often found in raw rice, are incredibly resistant to the heat of cooking. The real danger begins after cooking. If you leave cooked rice at room temperature for hours, you create the perfect environment for those spores to germinate and multiply, producing toxins. Here is the key point. One of those toxins is heat-resistant. When you reheat that rice, you may kill the bacteria, but the toxin they have already produced remains intact. And that is what causes food poisoning. The link to the pancreas? This toxin causes classic food poisoning. If you have the habit of handling leftover rice improperly, you could be exposing yourself to low doses of these toxins on a regular basis, causing irritation, low-grade chronic inflammation in your intestine. Today, we know that there is a gut-pancreas axis. Chronically inflamed intestine can leak inflammatory compounds into the bloodstream, affecting other organs. And the pancreas is particularly vulnerable to this bombardment. My advice as a doctor: the golden rule of rice. Handling rice safely is simple if you follow strict rules. Serve and cool it immediately. As soon as the rice is cooked, serve what you are going to eat. The rest must be cooled as quickly as possible. The rapid cooling trick: spread the rice out on a tray or in shallow containers. This allows it to cool much faster. Do not put a hot pot directly into the refrigerator. Store it properly. Once it is cooled within less than an hour, place it in an airtight container in the refrigerator. Consume it within 24 hours. The safest rule is to eat it within a maximum of 1 day. Reheat only once, and until it is very hot. Heat it until it is steaming. Above 74 degrees Celsius, 165 degrees Fahrenheit, and crucially, never reheat it more than once. Write in the comments if you usually reheat any of these foods. I want to know if this information is surprising you. 4. Chicken. Our fourth food is another pillar of leftovers. Chicken. It is a fantastic source of protein. But when reheated, it presents a clear risk. The fundamental problem with chicken is bacterial. Raw poultry can harbor bacteria such as Salmonella and Campylobacter. Proper cooking destroys them. But the problem lies in uneven reheating. The microwave is famous for this. It creates hot spots and cold spots. Those cold spots can be the perfect refuge for any bacteria that survived or contaminated the food after it was cooked, allowing them to thrive. The link to the pancreas? A Salmonella or Campylobacter infection is a serious illness. It triggers a strong immune response throughout the body. This is a massive stress event for all organs, including the pancreas, which becomes involved in this inflammatory battle. Every time you eat a piece of unevenly reheated chicken, you not only risk food poisoning, but you also contribute to the inflammatory stress on your pancreas. My advice as a doctor: safe handling of chicken is essential. Rapid storage. It's just like with rice. Cool leftover chicken as quickly as possible. Store it in an airtight container in the refrigerator. Even reheating is key. The microwave is not your friend for reheating large pieces of chicken. If you use it, cut the chicken into smaller pieces. Halfway through the process, stir it or turn it over. Use a food thermometer. It is the only way to be sure. Chicken must reach an internal temperature of at least 74 degrees Celsius, 165 degrees Fahrenheit in all parts. Alternative methods are better. The oven, or a pan over medium-low heat. These are much better options. They allow slow and even heating. The cold option is the safe option. Honestly, the safest and often tastiest way to enjoy leftover chicken is cold. Shred it into salads, sandwiches, or wraps. It is quick and completely eliminates the risks. 5. Potatoes. We come to the final food, beloved staple for everyone, the potato. But the way we handle its leftovers can have unexpected consequences. Here the problem is twofold: impact on blood sugar and the formation of a potentially dangerous compound. First, let's talk about resistant starch. When potatoes are cooked and then cooled, part of their starch transforms into resistant starch. This starch is fantastic. It feeds our good gut bacteria and helps moderate the rise in blood sugar. In fact, consuming cooled foods rich in resistant starch could help reduce the risk of certain types of cancer. The problem is that when you reheat potatoes, you destroy part of this beneficial starch. This leads us to the second point: the glycemic impact. By losing resistant starch, reheated potatoes cause a faster and higher spike in blood sugar. Which organ handles that spike? The pancreas has to release a large amount of insulin. If your diet regularly causes these spikes, you are subjecting your pancreas to constant stress. Insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes are conditions linked to pancreatic exhaustion. They are in turn risk factors for pancreatic cancer. Finally, there is acrylamide, a substance classified as a probable human carcinogen. It forms in starchy foods during high-temperature cooking, such as frying or baking. Reheating potatoes, especially by frying them again, can potentially increase these levels. My advice as a doctor: reheated potatoes done intelligently. There is no need to ban potatoes. Just be smarter about them. Embrace the cold. The healthiest way to eat leftover potatoes is cold. A potato salad is a fantastic option because it maximizes resistant starch. Gentle reheating. If you must reheat them, do it gently. Steaming them is better. Or using the microwave on low power. That is better than using high, dry heat. Never refry them. Under no circumstances should you refry already cooked potatoes. It is the worst option. Think about mashed potatoes. Leftover mashed potatoes reheat well in a saucepan over low heat. Add a little milk or broth. Restore their creaminess. Conclusion: leave fear behind. Adopt knowledge. Today we have put 5 very common foods under the microscope. We have seen how the simple act of reheating, under certain conditions, can turn them into something problematic. With oils and fried foods, the danger is oxidation that causes inflammation. With spinach, the risk lies in nitrates that convert into nitrosamines. With rice, the culprit is the toxin of the bacterium Bacillus cereus. With chicken, we face the risk of bacteria due to uneven heating. With potatoes, the problem is blood sugar spikes and the loss of beneficial resistant starch. The common thread among all of them is the same: inflammation, oxidative stress, cellular damage. These are the mechanisms that over time can wear down our pancreas and increase the risk of serious diseases. The final message must be one of empowerment, not fear. I am not asking you to throw away your leftovers, but to be aware. I am giving you the knowledge to make smarter decisions. Prevention is based on the sum of hundreds of small decisions you make every day.